Hello there. Today I watched the new film The Iron Claw, and now I want to review it for you. It's a drama telling the story of the Von Erich family. Sean Durkin wrote and directed the film based on the real life of Kevin Von Erich, a professional wrestler. The film stars Zac Efron as Kevin, Jeremy Allen White as his brother Kerry, and Holt McCallany as their father Fritz. The story is told from Kevin's perspective and is essentially a retelling of his life and how he came to be the man he is today. It starts with their father and a bit of his wrestling career and then transitions into life at the Von Erich household when Kevin, Kerry, and David are just starting to make real headway into their careers. From there, we see a relationship drama unfold with a few highlights from their brothers' wrestling careers mixed in. Each of the four brothers goes through a tough time trying to live up to their father's expectations, and each of them ends up suffering from the pressure. As they become more successful, the pressure builds and their father shows his true colors. It's a tragic tale filled with loss, heartbreak, and an abusive family situation. There are little moments of happiness, but they feel like an oasis in an endless desert of sadness. It's an honest tale about the damage a father can cause. Most of the screen time goes to the four Von Erich brothers and their father. A little bit goes to the other wrestlers and lets them perform their machismo interviews, and we also see brief instances of their mother and Kevin's wife Pam. Kevin Von Erich is the oldest brother. He tries to look after his little brothers but is also obedient to his father. He does his best as a wrestler to make his dad proud and doesn't complain. David comes next and is the golden child. He does everything well and tries his best to cover for his brothers when they fail. He's an honest man who pushes himself hard and doesn't know when to quit. Kerry is an extremely talented hothead. He is an Olympic athlete, but when his dreams are dashed prematurely, he ends up transitioning into wrestling. He's a born star and rises through the ranks quickly. Mike is the youngest brother and wants to be a musician. He doesn't see himself as a wrestler at all. He's a gentle soul who just wants to party and make people happy. The visual journey feels a bit like a highlight reel of the Von Erich family's lives. It starts with scenes from their childhood and then shows us bits and pieces of their lives over the span of a decade. We see some of their fights and some personal moments from their lives and get a general feel for how each of the brothers felt about their careers and how their relationship with their father was affecting them. The big moments are the wrestling matches, which feature highly acrobatic fights between enormous men. They're flipping each other, jumping off the ropes, slamming their opponents, and creating all kinds of wacky looking scenes. The soundtrack comes in two forms, a couple of original songs and scored pieces created by the string section of an orchestra. The music in general tries to accompany the emotional journey and elevate the emotions in any given scene. There are a lot of dramatic sounding instrumentals that give the film a serious and intense feeling. There is also one performance from Mike to showcase his talent and how his brothers felt about it. Okay, so how was it? The writing was incredibly sad, but mostly well done. They explained the Von Erich family and their problems well and did a good job of fleshing out Kevin, David, Kerry, and Mike as people. There are lots of exciting moments in the film, but the depressing tones make it hard to continue watching. This movie is a bummer, and it will leave you feeling worse about the world when you're done. If you can get past that, there is lots to see and a lot going on. Bring lots of tissues with you though. The cast does a fantastic job of their roles, and there are a ton of emotionally moving performances in the film. The big standouts for me were Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White, with shoutouts to Stanley Simons and Harris Dickinson. The four of them played the Von Erich brothers and brought their stories to life in a vivid way. Each of them does a fantastic job of the emotional journey and really gets at the heart of the Von Erich problem. Zac Efron's Kevin gets the brunt of the screen time and the brunt of the emotional load. We see his character suffering from his injuries, his lack of confidence, and the emotional turmoil he feels while watching his father push his brothers. He displays a huge range of emotions throughout the film and shows off an impressive transition. His character goes from being a loyal, loving son to the kind of person who would kill their own father, and Efron makes that a believable change. Jeremy Allen White comes into the film a little later than the others, but he does a fantastic job of portraying a hyperactive mess. Kerry was doing drugs, dealing with lots of pain, and trying to live up to a standard that seemed impossible. White nails that desperate manic state while still being quite charismatic. Visually, the film isn't impressive, but it's well shot and there are lots of great costumes and sets that capture the period well. It is essentially a lot of dramatic conversations and moments in which characters are self-reflecting. They do a fantastic job of capturing the emotional journey and putting it on full display, but the fights were kind of pointless. You never get invested in them, and they dash any joy or excitement from them with a lot of sad personal drama. The fights were a small section of the film, and while the dramatic portions were interesting, I don't think they rise to the level of standout. Sound-wise, the film is quite moving and parts of it are quite memorable. The original songs they used were well timed and had a huge impact. One of my favorite moments was seeing them walk out to Rush's Tom Sawyer and then start fighting. It showed how connected the brothers were. The instrumentals were a lot more generic but also had a huge impact when they were present. They drew out all kinds of emotions and followed the emotional journey with great precision. Overall, The Iron Claw is a well-made movie about a very depressing subject. It's not for the faint of heart, but if you can make it through the movie, you will come out with a greater understanding of the Von Erich family and just how easily a person can destroy their own family. As for a rating, I'd give this film an 8 out of 10. Remember, these are just my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Bye-bye!